believe that love is an uncontrollable force. It's a silent killer that shows no.
Out hiking.
I ain't seen one. That's dope. Hey, you gotta let me know. The next one is monthly.
It's monthly, yeah, but however now it's the summer months, and and so they do dry up.
Okay.
Yeah, they dry up. So I don't know if it's still around, but yeah, man.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Man, we got waterfalls in the Bay Area.
You sure do.
Yes, sir. Just to let you know, we on right now.
All right, let me show you this real quick. Let me show him something. The waterfalls we're talking about.
You about to put me on game.
Yeah, man. It's actually real neat. So this is just a little stream, so it's not much here.
Oh, that was beautiful.
But it goes down quite a ways.
And that's in Diablo? Mount Diablo?
This is Mount Diablo, yeah.
Right in our backyard.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that looks crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Oh, word. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's lit. You just found that on your own, or you been going up there?
Nah, so she actually organizes the hike for us.
Okay.
So really it's wherever she kind of puts together and we go.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that was there before that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it one of them things like it's just a healing journey and y'all just breaking bread and chilling with each other, or do y'all actually do poetry when y'all go up there? Maybe write something, have a prompt, have something on your mind.
It's changed a bit, but it does have some of those. It does have a part of all those components.
Okay.
So originally, man, it was I thought of it when I was walking with my dog Luz up to the hills in Antioch at the Black Diamond Mines.
Yeah.
And well, I really enjoyed my time out there. For me, I consider walk with my dogs. I love dogs.
Mm-hmm. How many dogs you got?
There's three. I have three. My sister has one. So in the family we got 4 dogos. Is what we got. We got 4 dogos. Yeah. But I have 3.
Yeah.
And but in my life I've had probably like 8 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's dope.
Yeah. So but for me, I consider like walks with my dog sacred. Like I really enjoy that time, and so.
Yeah.
I walk with them almost daily, but usually just around a few trails in the city or around the streets. And so I love that.
Yeah.
Going out to the hills, even more so. So when I was out there, I just I'll be very contemplative, and then because of the stuff that I do with the poets, I'll maybe bring some poets out here.
Yeah.
So it originally started as a more reflection, and meaning that the hike would be done in silence, right? It'll be done in silence for the majority of it. We'll get to a certain point, and then we'll have a conversation about a certain prompt that was discussed at the beginning of the hike. And then we got some more folks involved, and I kind of let them take the lead on that.
Right.
And so it's moved a little bit now. So now it's more social, but with moments of reflection, as opposed to having the majority of the hype being there. And it's real neat too, because it makes those moments of reflection stand out more. Whether and those are what switch up. So sometimes it's a conversation. Sometimes we'll be freestyling a little poem or something.
Right.
Or sometimes we'll be talking about a prompt.
Right.
And that waterfall I just showed you.
Yeah.
And one of them, man, it was neat, bro.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
We went up there, and it's pretty high up.
Yeah.
And we just sat there for a while, and I damn near took a nap, bro.
Yeah.
I damn near took a nap, and then more. So the thing about these hikes too, we've been doing it for a while, and typically big groups don't gather; they just kind of move. So you'll know, passing by, or was here chilling over here, you just passing by.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on this particular occasion, that didn't happen. So we sat down, we were chilling, talking for a little bit, and then I kind of just sat and closed my eyes, laid back.
Mm-hmm.
But another group started coming in, started to sit down, and it became quite
Mm-hmm.
a large group of folks.
Mm-hmm.
But I was up there, man.
Mm-hmm.
As I was up there and I closed my eyes, listened to the waterfall, listened to everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Man, when it happened several times, it wasn't just like it happened one time, but several times in that moment.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
You okay?
What's up, man?
You want to come over here?
Cheers. What's in your huh?
Yeah. We're going to add baby girl to the podcast. You know. Come on. And she cried. All right. Come on.
Yeah,
right,
man.
yeah.
We I forgot I was up there,
Mm-hmm.
and so when I would open my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be like a shock to the senses, like
Mm-hmm.
oh shit, like I'm like I'm out here. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And then man, I was at a port and I was hearing this dude talk that had a long sentence,
Yeah.
and he said the same thing would happen to him, but inside,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oof, wow, bro, like
yeah. If y'all haven't ever taken a nap in nature, that is something you should do. That should be on your bucket list because you feel so. It's something about the sun, right? It's something about like being recharged in an element with the fresh air and the sun and the breeze and just maybe laying your head on your backpack or laying in the grass or whatever and just getting that grounded. I used to work at a camp and I used to take naps on my break, bro.
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
Take a nap up in that sun, bro.
Yeah, no, it's really great, man. And what made that? You see, I haven't fully experienced something like what I experienced up there.
Mm-hmm.
It was like this, like also because we were like up there, like it wasn't just like a quick. You can't just get out.
Yeah.
Like you're up there,
Mm-hmm.
and you're high above, and you can see all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was a beautiful feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And when that gentleman expressed to me about falling asleep while locked up and having that same exact feeling of waking up or like going to sleep and then waking up and while the eyes are closed, forgetting that they was locked up, and then opening their eyes and be like, fuck. And it made me appreciate those moments even more. Yeah, man, but we still doing the hikes and they're great. I'll let y'all send you a flyer, man.
Yeah. But that, you know what? Just to veggie back off of that a little bit more.
I never heard that before.
I own EP, so I gotta say veggie back.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so I mean, it just shows like how the soul transcends. You know what I mean? Like this body is temporary. But when you go into the dream state, when you go into the subconscious, you able to get out of the predicament, the physical predicament of this realm for just a minute.
Yeah.
And have that freedom. And it shows like this is just a small piece.
Yeah.
You feel me?
100%.
Yeah.
100%, yeah. I didn't even really in my head I didn't even think about it like that. But you're right, man. It really does go show the fact that no matter where you're at, if you kind of you can't put yourself in a different headspace, I guess, and be somewhere else. Yeah, that's for those that can do that on consistent. Because again, I haven't really experienced it too much like that. But for those that can do it on a consistent basis, man, what a great thing to be able to do. What a great skill to develop.
Yes, sir. And this is Say Yo Peace. I'm here with Cordon Concepts. My boy. And that's the perfect way how to open this joint, man. And when I say joint, I mean roll your piece in a leaf or a paper with the crease. You feel me? Do what you got to do when you watch this. You know what I mean? And we opened it with a peaceful, talk about the hike and just paint that image. You feel me? You feel what I'm saying? And I'm here with this brother. Look, this man got so many accolades, titles, so much stuff he's doing, so much stuff he will do. Poet Laureate of Antioch, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Host and curator of Grassroots Open Mic. Is that the name of your open mic?
The Grassroots Poetry Open Mic.
Grassroots Poetry Open Mic. Been around the state, different states, doing poetry, facilitating healing, doing it from a perspective of indigenous cultures. What I love, and your people are from Guatemala, El Salvador,
Mm-hmm.
right. And coming from that realm, and just injecting a dose of realism, of spirituality, just such a versatile artist, and I'm so happy to have him up in the building and blessing us. And yeah, just talk a little bit about how you got started with poetry. Did you ever see yourself as a poet?
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate the introduction, Swerve. Let me first start by saying thank you for having me as well. I love the location of where you're having this at, man, at the moment. I really do, man. So shout out to that.
Right.
And how I got started with poetry, well, I've always been quite artistic. I've always been quite artistic in terms of just gravitating towards art, not necessarily being good at it. But when I was younger, I used to love to draw into sketch and stuff like that. But I also moved around a lot, quite a lot. And when I was in 8th grade, we had moved out. My family, we had moved out of state for a while.
Okay.
And when we came back, back to California, that's when after I had another move to school, but after that, I was able to stay grounded in one place. After being grounded in one place, I got really tied in with some folks that essentially became like my extended family.
Right.
In addition to moving around a lot, also that as you were saying earlier in the introduction, my family's from Guatemala and El Salvador, and pretty much at the time, at least, many of them, it was one family that was in Georgia, which is where we were at for a while.
Oh wow.
Okay. And then most of our family though was out in El Salvador and Guatemala. In California, we didn't have really any family connections like that. It's outside of the immediate, nuclear family. So no cousins, no aunties, no uncles, no grandparents. You feel me? None of those things.
And so it was tight. Huh?
Yeah. And so after moving so much, ended up at a school where I ended up moving no more. So I developed these strong bonds with these individuals and their family, which became my family. Were also artists, except that a lot of them were into making music. And so as I connected with them, as I developed those bonds, my kind of natural artistic inclinations started leaning towards that. And so then I started to just listen to a lot more variety of music, and with a specific focus on the letters, on the words. And then I was exposed to some other folks. Well, I mean, we all know Tupac and Eminem and all them, but I was exposed to like a gentleman named Immortal Technique. And I was fascinated by what the lyrics were actually saying, like outside of the lyricalism, outside of the flow, is sounding, the way that it sounded, which appealed to me, was the actual statements that were being said within those lines. And I was fascinated, bro. So then I started gravitating towards writing. But it wasn't really poetry. At least I didn't consider it poetry. I was just writing. And then as time developed, and as I started to share a bit more, at school people asked you to share something, so I would share something. But I was conscious that I wouldn't always have a beat, so I would have little things prepared, just ready to go. And so I started sharing that, and then I got involved with the organization that was dedicated to working with youth, and I started sharing some stuff within there. Then I started sharing, with the school assemblies and things like that. And but at the
what
same,
grade was this?
this is all throughout high school.
All throughout high
But I
school.
mean, I guess you could say freshman is when I started to really kind of put myself out there.
Okay.
So maybe more towards like sophomore, junior, senior, definitely. Yeah, man. I was MTV came to the school one time, bro, for this show called "If You Really Knew Me," and I did a poem in front of them too. Well, it was a school assembly though, right? It was a school assembly. But as I start during this time, I was also on probation the entire time. House arrest and juvie, and I was associated with certain folks, and I was around certain individuals, both related to just regular street stuff, and both folks that had affiliations. So on both sides in terms of just regular block stuff and actual deep affiliations. And I started to come to the conclusion that as a young person who was around some of this activity, despite me wanting to do better, which I did, I felt like I was, if I wanted to be successful in music, I would have had to cater my lyrics more to a certain lifestyle that
I hear what you're saying.
I struggled with a bit. And I felt, because I knew certain people, not all. There's some people, man, in the music, and you hear it, and they're really, really about it. They really, really, and then there's other individuals who are not.
Right.
And so I knew both sides of it, and in my head, I was like, "There's no way you
didn't want to put that into.
There's no way you win the situation, because if you're about it, you're gonna get ran up on. And if you're not about it, you're gonna get ran up on.
Say that.
And then if you, or people are just gonna start to realize you're not about that, so it's just that's not gonna go nowhere.
Right.
So I didn't feel comfortable. I felt like there was, especially more on this camp, where folks saying things that they didn't really mean. I felt like there was more embellishment within the lyrics, or they were exaggerating certain things, or sometimes they would even find out
just lie,
bro. And
studio gangsters.
I had an issue with that, and I've always seen poetry as one of its main ingredients being honesty. So I gravitated towards that. But even then, I didn't call myself a poet. I just stopped writing to beats. I would still write to them. Here and there, but really just focus more on the spoken word. And then it wasn't really, bro, until like I was maybe like 27, 26, 27, that I kind of took the title of a poet, despite people calling me that. But I guess long story not short.
It's all good. Hey, context is everything when you're talking about an artist like yourself, because I've seen you perform, and the first time I seen you perform was at Friday. Shout out Friday. Shout out Anna. Dog, and you had a beat come on. And I was like, who this guy? Okay. So we chopped it up for a minute. That's when I first met you.
Okay.
So it all makes sense about the music side, right? But what you really saying is so deep, is because we hold so much power in our voice, even if we don't know. There's so many things that, as a poet myself, that I've said and stuff that came true. There's so many things that I exercised out of my life because of poetry. So when you took us through that journey, I get exactly what you're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you, man. And what's interesting is I remember that song too. That was Every Pretty Face. You can find it on streaming platforms, YouTube. There's a video for it, which you put a lot of work into. So check that out. All filmed in Oakland too, by the way, which is where we're at right now. So the entire video every location is all Oakland. So check that out. But even that was written just as poetry first. So even those lyrics were literally written as a poem.
Wow.
Then I went to the studio at Freebase Studios. They got studios in Hayward and Pittsburgh. Go check them out.
Is that Ray Studio?
Yeah.
Shout out Ray.
And that's the DoD family I was talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, you know. So recorded it there, laid it down with Playboy, and then sat outside the booth, and then started to think of what sounds would go well with it. So even that is actually a poem. You know, even though music, any song can be a poem depending on how you look at it, but it was written as just spoken word first.
Right.
You know, but yeah, you're right though, man. Poetry can definitely do that. In terms of, I guess, manifest, right? Or at least set a course which we can follow.
Yeah, dope. So, for the people out there that's wanting to be a poet and like, man, I got a burning desire to do this, but I don't think like I can make a living. Do you do this full time, or is this something you do when you have time to fit it in? How's your lifestyle with poetry?
Yeah, man. So now it's my full time.
Shout out to you for that, bro.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's my full time, and what I mean by that is, I set I set my days up, and while every day might not include me writing poetry, which I got to be honest with you, a lot of my days now sometimes haven't included it because of the other stuff I'm trying to do. But yeah, so I've been doing poetry for a long time, spoken word poetry, and throughout that period throughout kind of my professional career working, getting into the workforce, there was a certain point in time when I got more involved with program development, and so I helped develop 2 programs, 2 successful programs.
Right.
And
nonprofits?
No, programs within nonprofits.
Gotcha.
Right. So arts programs within nonprofits. And so at the last I guess W2, at the last W2 I had, I helped them develop their art and culture program, and it was through creating value there that I was able to sit down and have a conversation to switch my relationship up with them, continue to help them out with the art and culture program, and step away with essentially become a contractor, right? Become a contractor. And what we do through there, so this we put plays together, right? But the plays include poetry. So the plays, we're working on our 4th one. But every year, one of the main components and what makes them distinguishes them from many other plays is that kind of grounding with poetry that happens throughout, not excessively, just about 2 or 3 times throughout the play. But they're reminders of kind of the larger picture. But anyways, I was able to provide some value and then have that conversation. So this is now my 2nd year, and so pretty much now the way that my days are working, to be honest, it's like the past maybe like 2 weeks, man. I've been going to sleep like at 4 a.m. I mean, yes and no. I just I'll take a nap in the middle of the day or something. You know what I mean?
See, when you work for yourself, you can take a nap in the middle of the day.
Yeah, and that's because though, I'll get the work done because it's just You know, I don't know if y'all knew this, but when I found this out, bro, I was so happy.
Yeah.
All right. I've always thought that I was more creative
Yeah.
and in some ways more productive at nighttime.
Yeah.
At least when it came to my artistic stuff. But
When that poem hit you at 2 a.m., boy.
yeah,
Yeah.
the issue with that being that business tends to happen when the sun is out, not when the sun is down.
Right.
You know, the sun is up. I mean, so I would find this predicament of wanting to stay up.
Yeah.
But then knowing that, oh, I gotta go over here, or I gotta send this email out, or I gotta do this, and so everything was just kind of getting messed up. But then I realized that you can schedule emails.
Yeah.
So I'd be up at like 3 in the morning, replying, and then I'll put, send in the morning, like send at 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
So right now my days are looking all weird, but they switch, they rotate. It doesn't always look like that.
Yeah.
And I get to now. Who knows if in the long run it's really gonna work, right? Because I'm still an artist, and so it's still not that much money involved in that.
Yeah.
You know, especially you know, a lot of folks may see it as like, oh, he's a full-time poet, so now you know he made it in a way, but that is true in a way, but from a different perspective. Now I'm at the bottom of that whole thing because now it's I don't have money just coming in like that. You know. So in certain regards, I may be struggling in different ways than other folks. By taking the risk. Of wanting to do it. You know.
That's what it is. It's the risk. It's the blind faith. Or not even blind, just seeing the vision and saying, look, I'm going to go full force at it, do what I got to do it because this is what keeps me happy. This is what aligns with, instead of working for somebody else and doing something you don't want to do, you doing something that you love doing.
Yeah. Exactly, man.
Give and take.
Yeah, and you know that I think everybody should, I know it's hard.
Yeah.
But I wish that more folks, you know, took those risks. Again, there's sacrifices that come with it. We were talking about my cousin Ray earlier about the studios, Street-based studios. And one of the big drivers behind that is my cousin Tuck. And so me and him, you know, talk quite often about pursuing these passions because similar to myself, stepping into more of this full-time artist life, he did the same thing with his actual music engineering and producing, right? But and again, so some folks may look at that like, wow, but that comes with its own sacrifices, and so there's things that you know anybody who decides to pursue those things at an earlier age can sometimes risk things like having a house. I mean, a lot of folks that I know, man, are married, have a house or some, have kids, you know, and they're like 12 years old, the kids. You know what I mean? Like the kids are like, oh, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like I went to school with you. How you have a 12-year-old like kid?
When is that?
You know. And so they have that, and believe me, that for those of us that may not have some of those things, while we have the career, that weighs, that's that balance, right? And so at a certain point, that's why I said we'll see what happens. Because I do have that blind faith. You know, I'm also real good at listening to the signs. You know, so right now they're saying go this way. But we'll see because there's other things in life that I would also like to experience. And so right now my main thing though is poetry and pursuing that. Despite the risk, we'll deal with those later.
No, real talk, man. It's scary, but it's also very rewarding on the other side. You know what I mean? Like spiritually, you find out who you are when you at the bottom. A lot of times, you know, when you at the top or so-called being at the top, however that looks for certain people, and success is relative, right?
That's true.
I believe that love is